you can see here, he is quite little in comparison. Now this guy is a week old today. This guy just born yesterday. All right, you can see, guys, it's January 8th. Didn't do a video yesterday. Just this time of year, things can kind of be repetitive. One thing that did happen yesterday was late. Last night we had a doe have a single kid, a buck kid. So that brings us up to 2. He's little, and he's on a first-time doe, so I don't think the milk volume's there. So I'm just going to mix up. He's got colostrum, and he's made it the first pretty near 24 hours. So I'm just going to mix up a little supplemental colostrum. It's bag colostrum. So it's Grober dried colostrum. It's lamb grow, kid grow colostrum. And so he is little, so he's about 4 pounds. So I got to put a scoop in about 73 mils of warm water. So I got to get the water warm in here. Takes a bit for it to warm up. I'll use a measuring cup here to mix it all in. And then I did try stripping the does out, because the doe will have, you know, those are the antibodies that you want. I know he's got some of that. It's just like I said, I don't think he's got enough, and it's cold, so I just want to make sure he gets more than enough colostrum, and that way he can get off to the races. Because once they get rolling and they get their feet under them and they get a nice warm full belly, they're usually pretty robust. So stay tuned, I'll get that all mixed up, and then we'll go try and feed it to him. If he won't take from the bottle, I do have a tube feeder here. So we'll see how he is strong enough. I think he will drink from the bottle. So anyways, check it back in with you guys when I get that all mixed up. All right, so I got it all mixed up. I mixed up way more. I mixed up 200 just in the measuring cup. It mixed a lot better. So it's warm. We'll go out, try and feed him a little bit. I don't expect him to drink all 200 mils. Even if he gets 50 or 60 mils of that, that should be more than enough. Because like I said, he has been drinking off of his mom. So we'll go out and do that, and try and do that, show you guys how to feed a baby goat. You can see here, he is quite little in comparison. Now this guy is a week old today, and this guy is just born yesterday. But you can see he's not big as his counterparts. So typically what I like to do is I usually bring him and set him in my lap. So there he is, crying. I'll get you guys there. So typically I like to take him like this, and I found the best way to get them to drink from the bottle is you got to cover their eyes. It seems if you cover their eyes like this, it acts like they're up near their mom's udder, and they will start to nurse. So might see. And I like to use a bottle, and then you can apply a little pressure. And then too, if you go and just nibble at their bum and act like their mom, that sometimes gets them to drink too. Ideally, and this is sometimes the issue with first-time moms, they don't get them up near as often. They don't really know what to do yet. And we can sometimes have this issue. I had this issue really bad last year. I had lots of first time kidding, and we had to treat, we had to do this a lot. get you guys. Where can I? Calves are easy because you just stick your fingers in there and they're about the same size as their mom's teats, and they take off. But I might have to tube this guy, but I'm gonna put the camera down and see if I'll get 2 hands at it and I focus on it and see if I can't get him to start drinking. So you can see, wouldn't drink from the bottle, but I am able to get him to drink off of mom. So what I'll do is I sometimes come in here and sit down and I want to make sure that he's getting enough. And it's just peace of mind. She's a good mom, so you can see how when you nibble at their butt, it kind of triggers them and you're tricking them like they're with their mom, and then they'll drink. So what I think maybe happened today is he's not as super aggressive as some of the other kids when they're first born. What I think happened is she just laid down and had a nap, and over the course of the day he didn't maybe get up to eat as often. And that's another reason why I like to use the kidding pens, is for situations like this. You get a really good mom, but kind of a dopey kid, and they sometimes go a little backwards. And that's the nice part of having these kidding pens, is you can easily spot that kid starting to go backwards, and you don't have to chase him around the pen where he doesn't get lost. And so we'll keep an eye on him. I'm gonna probably go do some more chores, and usually a good sign is I like to see that little tail wagging when he's nursing and he's up walking around. So I had to slip home quick and pick up the kids. So when I saw he was cold, I just put him in the creep area, let mom out to get some hay and a drink of water, and he warmed up underneath the heat lamp. And then reunited him again, and like I said, she's got lots of milk and he's got lots of jam to get in there. So I'll leave these two sorted out. Let's go do some calf chores. I think Joe said they needed a bale of hay, so we'll get that. And then we got a bunch of snow today, so I should clear up the yard because we want to ship out some corn later this week. Would also like to document that we got a new door handle on here for probably, I think as long as I have lived on the farm. So I think we moved here in 2000, so 25 years. That door handle has been broken. For the longest time, the knob on the outside was fine, but on the inside it wasn't. And when it was new, it was free and flush. You could easily just turn the little, I don't even know where Joe put it. I thought he'd keep it as a keepsake. But anyways, for years, there was either there was a wrench off a Kawasaki dirt bike that fit on it. We would use to open it, and then we got smart. Instead of using that we used to jam in the holes of the spray foam here. We put a pair of vice grips on that. Well, then you need the vice grips to fix something, and so we would take that. And so for the last, I don't know, year or so, there's been nothing there, and it's a bit of a challenge to open it. And then, you're going to take a bag of feed with you to feed some goats, and you can't open it one hand. So finally broke down and put a new handle on it. So I thought I'd document that. It's the little things. It might not be big, significant to you guys, but after 20 plus years of not fixing it, we finally got around to it. So let's go get that bale of hay for the calves. All right, you might hear that generator in the background. So we got a generator in there to run the shed to have our yard light, because the old bank barn is where the hydro service originally came in to the farm. So there's a big panel in there, and when they redid the hydro service, they moved it to another barn, but instead of rewiring it that all the hydro come out of the electrical shed when we did the elevator, they just piggybacked on it. So what powers the hydro for this shed and that shed all come through that barn, that there was a wire that was strung from there to there. So when that fell down, we thought, well, before we wreck anything else, we disconnected the hydro to it. So we now run a portable generator for the yard lights when we got to do yard stuff work. Not all bad. The only downside is that's what our fuel tanks are powered from. So you got to turn the generator on to fuel up anything. But on the flip side, the generator takes fuel. So we always make a point to check and make sure that the generator, at least there's a jerry can full of gas, so we don't have to drive to town to fill up a jerry can to run the generator to pump gas into our diesel, or pump gas or diesel into our vehicles. So we're storing the hay in here. This is where we keep all our equipment, combine, tractors. I've got plans to do an equipment tour / farm tour. This is a Jersey calf that Joe got from the sale barn. So I think I got one earlier and we call him Jerry. And then my niece got confused and thought this was Jerry. So this is Jerry 2.0. So we got 2 Jerrys on the farm. So my cousins have a bale barn, which they bundle, I believe it's 21 bales together. And we did little squares. It's just nice to have a few little squares around, and the bale barn then makes it easier that we don't have to do a whole whack load of manual labor. In the past, you'd build a load, so you'd handle the bale. Then you'd have to unload the wagons, you handled the bale again. And then you'd have to throw the bale down to feed, so you've handled it 3 times. Now we get it that we only got to handle them once. So that's why I got to be careful what I eat, because I'm not doing as much manual labor now, but it definitely is a lot faster. So going to get a bale for the calves, and then probably going to push some snow, because it's a little easier when it's dark out. You got the lights of the machine, and it's not snowing, so you don't have the light reflecting off of the snowflakes. So makes it a little easier, and we can get the yard cleared up. All right, gonna give some hay, just sprinkle it along. They don't need too much. Between bit of grain and this hay, we're just trying to do some rumen development. I imagine we probably should be feeding them a grassier hay or something a little softer, but I don't know, they seem to eat this. They don't waste a whole lot of it. It's high protein. They don't bloat on it if we just limit feed them like this. Once they get a little bit bigger, we've got corn silage and other things that we can feed them a lot better for backgrounding. Because the whole key with backgrounding is you actually don't want to put on fat. You want them to put on frame. So then when they get older and we go on a grain finish, because we're doing grain finishing, not grass finish, they are able to hang more or put on more muscle and fat, per se, on a bigger frame. Because you can finish them out and make them nice, fat, and plump, but they'll finish out maybe around 1,000 pounds. Whereas if you let them kind of grow slow for the first year, you can get steers finishing up 1,900 pounds. So with that being said, results from the sale on, or the cattle selling on Tuesday, those 5 heifers averaged 1,445 pounds and sold for an average price of $2.70 a pound. So if I do my math right, that's just a little over $3,900 a head. So that's if you haven't been following the cattle markets for a while, that's extremely high. Specifically for dairy crosses as well. I think when I look back in 2019, I think choice fed steers were $1.70, $1.85, I think is what they were averaging per pound live weight. So we've added $1 a pound, and you get some of these big steers that are going through there that weigh 1,800 pounds, bringing the same money. That's close to $5,000 a head. So there's big money in the cattle right now. It's kind of, well, as you as a consumer, if you're a consumer watching this, you know beef is expensive in the grocery store. Because it's expensive. Well, it's expensive to grow. And on the flip side, there's a lot of risk. So we might be getting $2.70 a pound for the animals we're shipping out now, but these guys are at least a year to 14 months, 15 months before they're ready for market. So there's no guarantee what the cash price will be for cattle for that. There's lots of programs that farmers have the ability to enroll in as far as risk management, but at the end of the day, those are to help mitigate risk. They don't remove risk, so they kind of help ease the pain if there is a big price swing. So it is a gamble to, you know, buy them in as young animals like this, and, you know, fingers crossed that the price still holds. But that's why you got to do your due diligence. You got to know what it costs you to raise that animal, what you're buying that animal for, and what you realistically think you can sell that animal for. So I always try to, you know, sometimes I'm a little optimistic, or, you know, the grass is always green. But when we were getting into this venture, we wanted to continue my thought. When we were getting into this venture of cattle, we definitely sat down and we looked at what is it costing us. We didn't just jump right into this. We did try and learn with smaller groups to figure out what our costs are, what our realistic gains. Worked with our feed company or a rep to set budgets and figure out, you know, is this a viable option? Or, you know, there's nothing that's no risk. Everything has risk associated with it. But if you can sit down, figure out what your costs are, what your break even is, and you know, then at the end of the day, you got to go out and do it, and you got to go out, work, and make it work. You know, you can sit down and probably talk yourself into anything you want to do farming, and you can probably sit down and talk yourself out of anything you want to do. And at the end of the day, you don't want to be sitting there saying, wish I did it or try it. We're giving this a shot, right or wrong, getting in at the high of the market. You know, talked to a couple old boys. They said, you know, if they won't lend you the money to buy cattle when the market's high, do you think they're going to lend you the money when the cattle are low, when prices are low? So just, I'm young. We're going to take some chances. They're calculated chances. It's not by this, we're not shooting from the hip. Might seem like that or feel like that some days, but it is calculated. So those guys are all fed. I got to grab a bag of feed for one more pen, and then we'll get moving some snow. We'll get the snow moved. We'll circle back around and we'll check on that kid again. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel to keep this content coming. I'm really enjoying doing this. Bumping into friends and other farmers that know me through, or that follow me on my social media, that have watched the videos. I really appreciate you guys watching and giving me positive feedback. It definitely is encouraging and helping me feel like I'm making the right choice and pursuing this. So let's get back to work, and I'll put the camera down for a little bit. Got that snow moved. Well, attempt at it. I didn't want to. I hate moving snow. It's probably my least favorite job to do. You do get to run equipment, but moving snow sucks because it's repetitive and you always second guess where you got to pile it, because I think I need to pile it somewhere, he piles it somewhere, and then it. Anyways, I hate moving snow, and I live in a country where we got to move snow. All right, just checking in on Buddy here. See how he's doing. Probably get Mom something to eat. Now I get Mom some water. I have it in a pail already from the other day. Mom's got some water. What are you doing? I got these girls from a lady in Quebec, and she must look after them extremely well because they are friendly. Anything I have, it's hit or miss whether they're friendly or not. Try not to make too many pets out of them. That was one thing my dad was terrible for when he was around, making pets out of pretty much any animal. That's probably where we got our love for working with animals, because this guy right here, Tony, well, his registered name is Klondike, so Dad thought, well, we call him Tony from because Dad liked watching Gold Rush Alaska, so he called him Tony. And Tony was really friendly when he was little, but now he's at a size that he gets a little rough with you, and he's got horns that hurt. So that's why we don't try to make them pets per se. It's more actually they want to come play with us, and they get too big, and then they can actually cause more harm than good. So you don't want them afraid of you and mean, but you don't want them too friendly that they want to come over and play and knock you around. So anyways, that should pretty well wrap this video up, guys. Again, thanks for tuning in, and if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe. Comment what you want to see extra, or what else you want to see from the channel. Anything that with walking around the yard you want a little more detail on. Like I said, liking and commenting on the videos really helps spread the word of the channel, and would really appreciate that. So again, thanks for tuning in, and until next time, keep her between the ditches.